So the general idea behind the lighting for this shoot is to do something that connects with the natural way a landscape looks. So, well, we have like a base composition here. I usually like to have one top light coming and doing like a kind of an ambience light and lighting all the scene. It could be like a sky in a way. And then I always like to have another light that gives the composition a bit of a direction so it can create some volume. So I'm going to turn on and off so we can see this is the general ambience light. And this is a light that gives us more direction. In this case, I decided to use a grid because I want to create an atmosphere that's a bit more closed, casting some shadows and having this contrast. I've also helped with some spotlights, these dedo lights, and I'm mixing up with the flashlight to create and to draw like all the lines the product has. We can see how this spotlight works. They can be used in a more fluid mode where it gets to a wider angle or more spot. And it can also be controlled with the barn doors, so we can select which specific areas of the product we want to light. The direction of the light is basically coming from the same as the grid, because it's like the logic for me in this scene. And this other light is also helping me to draw some lines in the opposite direction, but trying not to have cross shadows, which is something that I don't like. So for all the sets that I've shot, I follow the same logic in the light, but depending on the angle I was shooting, I just mirrored what I was doing, so the direction is either coming from the right or coming from the left. Then the colored backgrounds are coming from a light I have set pointing at the back. It's a little bit lower and it's got color gels, and they are the ones that are making all these colors. So I'll show you these color gels. Half and half, so they are the ones in charge of the gradients at the back. Natural materials are really nice to light because they usually absorb and reflect light in a very nice way. They have very interesting textures, and when you shoot them with very high resolution, you get to discover beautiful shapes and forms and textures. So the challenge here was to get the most we could with the light to achieve these like very rich textures and combine them and get the color with the more natural parts that in this case could be the moss or the rest of the flowers and plants that we've used. In terms of light, what we have to keep in mind when working with a subject like this, a camera in this case or any electronics, is which areas could be reflective, and as being a very black element, also how we want to highlight the different shapes that it has. So we want to see all the detail in the lens, the rings, the circles, all the curves lit in a beautiful way. So it's good to have the light coming from an angle to be able to test which is the one that works better.